Welcome back to the Red Path. Today we're going to take a look at two of our key units, Raptors and Warp Talons. During 9th edition, both units have had their moments in the sun. Raptors were initially a perfect unit to spam as MSU for multiple scoring options, and Talons provided an amazing alpha strike option. Armour of Contempt more or less killed Raptors off, lacking the volume they've since received, and made Talons a more or less auto-take. Now, however, with administrative changes such as Khorne, the units have received various role changes. Talons received an upgrade in their number of attacks, going from 5 on the charge to 6 now, plus the second wound, and a much more useful ability of the no fall back over their rarely relevant no overwatch charging. Raptors saw a significant boost, being Khorne, with access to the Mark of Khorne for +1 strength on the charge, being charged, heroic, etc., as well as being 5 attacks on the charge. Khorne grants access to rerolls and unlocks a whole swathe of stratagems, which we'll dive into shortly. I'm going to go over the math of both these units into typical targets, focusing on it being a turn 1 alpha strike following a frenzy, and then close up with some general advice and tips. So, let's compare the two. We'll compare 5 Talons at 140 points versus 6 Raptors at 141, as this is as close as I can get them whilst remaining reasonable unit sizes. We're going to examine both units into Guardsmen, Battle Sisters, Basic Marines, Terminators, and then Death Guard Terminators and Plague Marines for a variety of outputs. We're also going to look at them bare bones, with 1 CP being used, 2 CP being used, and Raptors with and without reroll 1s. For ease of viewing, I'm just going to present and narrate the overall damage that breaches the saves. This includes Armour of Contempt where relevant, as well as Invulnerables. Both units are damage 1, so there's no impact from Disgustingly Resilient, which makes it a little easier. I'd considered including Possessed in this comparison, but I think their role differs enough from Jump Troops to not be optimal in this video. Stratagem-wise, we can spend 1 CP to give Talons Wild Fury for AP3, or 2 CP for Veterans of the Long War. They are eligible for a couple of other strats such as Death to the False Emperor and Fury of Khorne, but this was the easiest and honestly most common set of combos I would personally use. For the Raptors, we'll look at them with no buffs, reroll 1s only, reroll 1s and Stoke for Exploding 6s and Strength 6, and finally, reroll 1s, Stoke, and Wild Fury for 2 CP. So let's start off with going into regular guard models. The fully buffed Raptor squad can reliably kill 25. 21 can be killed with 1 CP, and then Talons with 2 CP can kill 20. Unbuffed, Raptors kill 11 and Talons 18. Given the guard squad will typically be 10 wounds total for 10 models, any size of these units should kill a full squad, with or without wanton slaughter. Depending on board state, Talons may actually wish to underkill guards to leave some bodies left to trap with their claws. Next, going into Battle Sisters, roided up Raptors kill 12, almost 13. 1 CP Talons kill 12, and weirdly, 2 CP Talons kill 10, likely due to the native reroll wounds, further buffing their kill and strike. So these combos can reliably kill 2 MSU sister squads, and they should be positioned for a dual charge. Facing regular Marines or Intercessor type models, 1 CP Talons and 2 CP rerolling Raptors both kill about 5 models as they are 2 wounds each, where 2 CP Talons kill only 4 Marines. This is interesting to note as versus Marines, Talons will generally be your better pick, unless they're Salamanders. Talons really don't care much about transhuman, luckily. Punching Terminators in the face starts to get a bit more above their pay grade, with 1 CP Talons killing 2.5, fully buff Raptors safely killing 2, and Talons with Vets just about taking 2 down. So let's upgrade our foes to toughness 5 with the Death Guard and see what happens here. Fully buffed Raptors kill 2 Death Guard Terminators quite reliably, where Talons with Wild Fury take 1, maybe 2. Vets is again less reliable than Wild Fury here, interestingly. Finally, into Plague Marines, jacked up Raptors should kill 5, and 1 CP Talons do 7.6 damage to kill 3, maybe 4. So looking overall, fully buffed Raptors are generally the most consistent to actually deal damage, but Warp Talons do very well for less resources. Only 1 CP is ever really needed due to their claws rerolling wounds. In addition, whilst the Raptors' -1 leadership may occasionally matter, the ability to prevent fallback in the less combat-orientated armies could be incredibly clutch for your overall game plan with the Talons. So let's discuss what I think some general advice for these units is. First, I currently recommend running both, no surprise there. I've been using both jump options since the codex dropped, more or less, and getting used to their most optimal targets is partially why I'm recording this video. At first I was convinced Talons were the better option, but Dara kept advocating for Raptors, so I decided to give them a shot. Coupled with the mantle prints I've been using, they've really been able to cause some issues. Having both as an option really allows you some micro-tailoring in your list, as you really ought to be running fly infantry as world eaters anyway due to apoplectic frenzy. Use the information I discussed earlier as a means to guide which unit might alpha strike and which can sit back for counter-offensive duty, and I think you'll start to see more trade efficiency from them. In addition, whilst I did use 6 Raptors as a comparison number here, I'd strongly recommend you don't run 6 Warp Talons. I'll have a shot on screen right now hopefully, but you should be able to see that the board presence of 6 Talons is actually less than that of 5. Once you go above 5 models, different coherency rules come into play, and as you'll often want Talons chewing through a screen and perhaps 6-inch consolidating into backfield infantry to prevent them falling back, the more space you occupy on the table, the better. While 6 is great for R&Ding and can absorb a casualty or two, I'd suggest building either 5 or 7 plus Warp Talons in your list. Raptors, whilst technically suffering the same, don't worry about it as much as they don't benefit any more than anyone else by tagging multiple units. A nice play I've found with Raptors is to absolutely yoke them up. Give them trans to hit, stoke the nails, wild fury if necessary, reroll 1s from your mantle prince or lord, and potentially, though I haven't actually tested it yet, the blade of the relentless on the champion. On paper this seems like a pretty solid unit, having 6 attacks from the champion, likely doing 2 to 4 mortals, as well as 45 chainsword attacks at a 10 model squad with the rerolls and explosions, then hopefully tanking combat from your opponent for yours and their turns with trans to hit and potentially cover saves. So that's about it for this one. Let us know below whether you have a preferred jump pack troop and any tips and tricks you've figured out for them. Please consider joining the Discord, the link's below, and helping us drive World Eaters up as a faction. So until next time folks, stay healthy, stay safe, and kill main burn.